Hi, this is John with Fix It Planet. Today we're going to take a look at this Nextbook. This is the NX16A8116K PK. So there are a number of different models. This one's got some brittle plastics that have already started cracking. In this corner it's pretty bad. I'm going to go ahead and start separating in that corner just because it's easier to get it started there, but anywhere on the device you can get a pick in there or your fingernail or whatever. But on one side, the side opposite of the volume keys and the power keys, there will be a cable attached, so you'll want to be careful of that. This little spot right here has got a little crack in it, so we need to watch out for that. And we're going to separate the back, which is just snapped on. We'll open it like a book, watching out for this cable here that runs to the speaker. There's the speaker connector. Get a close-up look here, right there. And the battery cable is plugged in here. So first thing we're going to do is disconnect that battery. And then up there at the top, well, we need to scoot into frame. Here is the actual digitizer, which is what we need to replace on this. So this one has somehow been coming loose already. But normally you would have to apply some heat to get around these edges and get this loose, but in this case this one here's been getting loose and dirt's been getting underneath it and it just came right off. So don't expect to be lucky like that. So normally you would need to, you can see right there's the little slot where the cable, the flex cable for the digitizer is actually going to go in. Normally you would have to have some adhesive that you would have to separate, and you would need to warm that up at least with a hairdryer or something of that nature to get it going. Now we're gonna slide this through that little slot, and we're gonna connect it up, and we're gonna test it before we install it. And before we install it, we're gonna prep the surface because it does have a lot of dirt and debris around the edges, and we don't want that. We're going to put some fresh adhesive in there to make sure it stays stuck down. So we just reconnect the battery and we're just going to flip it around. Well, we got a little bit of masking under there. We'll power it on and we'll test to make sure that our new touchscreen digitizer is actually working before we install it. And we'll also want to do the best we can to clean up the actual LCD or display, the part that shows the image, since it does have dirt and debris that's gotten inside there. It's not going to be very clean, so we'll do the best we can with that before we close everything up. So we did a quick test on this just to satisfy ourselves that it is going to work. So we're going to reopen it, disconnect the battery again, and then take the new digitizer, the new touchscreen, back off of it. Now there's masking on both sides of this touchscreen, so it doesn't matter if I touch it because we'll be removing that masking when we go to install it. But if you have no masking on yours, or if you've already removed it, you will get fingerprints, and those are hard to clean off. So first thing we're going to do is just wipe away some of this loose dirt and debris. With a nice cleaning cloth. Now we blew it out with some air, high pressure air, and we're going to go around the edges here with some alcohol and another cleaning cloth and get as much of this dirt and debris out of here as we possibly can. We want that surface to be nice and clean and free of any dirt, dust, or debris. We want to avoid touching the display as much as possible. So around the edges we might have touched it a little bit with our alcohol cleaning cloth, and before we close it up, we're going to want to kind of go around and examine and inspect that display and get any streaks or anything that might have gotten on it during that process. This is another one of those really cheap tablets that it's hardly worth, paying to get them repaired. But if you can do it yourself, it's certainly not too bad. Parts are not expensive, and the repair is not difficult. So we're going to get out some of our heavy-duty 3M double-sided adhesive, and we're going to start going around the edges and applying it where we need it. And if since we're doing this way, we will need to cut areas of it out where we don't need it and cut around any openings or slots or anything inside there, so that we're not covering up any sensors or camera holes or blocking anything that we need to get access to. So that's what our razor knife is for. We're going to go around this little opening here. This is where the Flux cable goes, so we don't want any extra bit of adhesive in our way, because that just gets caught on the Flux cable and makes it difficult to pass through the slot. And we do have a front-facing camera there. We don't want to cover it up either. There's a small sensor there to the right of that front-facing camera, and that's why we're putting in this little sliver, or this little piece of right in between the two. And now on the bottom of the tablet, we don't have anything there we need to worry about, so we can just run one big piece right across the bottom. And again, with the sides, the same thing. There won't be anything there we have to worry about, so we can run one long piece across each side. So we've got all the adhesive that we need, and we'll be able to go ahead and start cleaning the surface of the display itself, making sure there's nothing there that we don't want to be there. We'll start with a cleaning cloth and just kind of make sure to get any dust and debris off of there. And if there's anything that may appear to be stuck to it, that could be a fingerprint, that could be just about anything. We can use some, I like to use just some black electrical tape, and we'll go around and we'll just pick that stuff up with the tape. And that will remove fingerprints and a variety of other things that may be stuck to the glass, but not everything will come off. So at some point you just have to do the best you can and get everything off that will come off. And get any streaks or anything from when we clean the alcohol. We'll go ahead and remove our masking, and that sometimes can toss up little tiny pieces that may have been just sort of caught on the edges or something. So after you remove all this, you might want to double check again and make sure that there's nothing that came off onto the glass. Now, we don't remove the masking from the digitizer and the actual touch screen until we're absolutely sure and we're ready to put it on, so that we can protect it from getting any fingerprints or anything on the back side that you won't be able to get access to once it's installed. And of course, if we see anything on the display, we'll get that with our tape. And this is a little bit tricky here, but if you're careful, you can just reach in there and pull it through. Just be sure you don't damage the cable or pinch it between the glass and the frame. So that's pretty easy, and we've now got it fairly well in place. We're going to go ahead and reconnect everything now. We'll go ahead and close it up. And this little corner here, I don't know if I showed in the video, but there is a small piece that came out of it, and we just kind of glued it back into place with some Loctite super glue, just to kind of fill that hole a little bit so it was a little less obvious. But it's not required. If you want to, you can always get a brand new back and replace the whole back too. So everything looks good, seems to be working fine. We'll actually apply a little bit of pressure around the edges with a cleaning cloth and make sure that the glass is firmly stuck down. And we'll do a couple of other tests. We'll check the cameras. So we have both front and rear cameras working okay. And everything looks good. Volume up and down works. So it all looks good. Everything's done. We're all happy again. Tablet is set and ready to go. Hope this helps somebody out there. If you like it, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.